319-354-0800, 319-354-0800. We're looking for Basset Hound owners. And Ron, what else do you have for us today?
We're going to talk about grain-free foods. I always bring on the air questions that I hear in the store, and that was a question that came up yesterday of just somebody was looking at, the grain-free foods, and I want this, I want that. And I said, hey, what's the basis of, what you're looking for there? They said, well, I read it on the internet and I'm hearing a lot about it. And I said, let's talk about the proof that's behind a lot of this stuff. And I think you're going to be a little surprised on what I'm going to talk about as far as grain-free foods and what's the benefit behind them all.
Okay, good. And that is something I've heard. I know I have a friend of mine who only feeds his dogs grain-free, and he claims that I think it's probably based off some of the same stuff that he's heard or read, that you gotta make sure there's no grains in there because they're not good for dogs. And we've touched on this in the past, but we'll get more in depth with that today. So stay tuned. We're talking pets here. You're always open for your calls and questions. If you have something going on at your home, a problem with one of your pets, this is a great place to call and ask for some advice and get that problem solved. And we've helped people out over the years, and it's a nice feeling to know that, hey, they don't have that issue anymore because there's a solution available, and maybe one that you haven't considered before. 319-354-0800, 319-354-0800. You can also email news@kxic.com. It's the word news@kxic.com. Those emails come into my box here, and I'll ask the question to Ron. You could also post a question to our Facebook timeline. So lots of ways for you to get a hold of us here on the Positively Petland Show every Thursday in this 8 o'clock hour. So we're talking pets as always. So Ron, you made it through to your daughter's in her second year of college now, right?
Second year is going back Saturday. Yeah, move-in day is Saturday.
Here at the University of Iowa is when she moves in, right?
In the engineering program.
Good, congratulations. And I believe you had a little influence on that, the engineering program.
Yes, yeah, my background. If you tell somebody to do something long enough, they sometimes do it, and Emily followed that track, and I think Andrew's well on the way.
Is he really? And Andrew is how old?
He is 17 and is a junior over at Kennedy.
Okay. And we, of course, have our little Jack, who went to his first day of kindergarten.
Following that.
Have you been watching that?
Yeah. You have a lot of things going on. You have had, an anniversary, right? Your birthday?
Yeah, my birthday.
Jack's going back.
Yeah.
All these different. Oh, you went camping for the first time last weekend. You got a lot of firsts.
It's been very, very busy. It has been, and also, unfortunately, a friend of mine lost his dad, and so it's just been the stir of emotions. All this weird, some good, some bad, but it's been a lot of changes, a lot of things happening. But it's a lot of exciting stuff, which is good. And one of the funny things was the first day of school was that he was just like, see ya. Like, it was like time to line up. He just got in line and just walked right in. And Devin was like she was like devastated. She's like, no, I wanted him to want to come back, and and I was like, sorry, he's ready to go.
Oh, I think a lot of parents have had exactly that experience, because we had it with our son. Was exactly that. Mom, you can go now. It was like, what?
You've needed me all this time.
I had to take Andrew off to the side, said, okay, son, here's some coaching for you.
Yeah, give her a hug at least on your way out. So,
so
the teardrops that came weren't from him; they were from Devin. But she's doing fine now, and he's doing well. Full day kindergarten, and he's loving it, which is awesome. After the first day, he said it was the best day ever. So it's like, if he enjoys it, that's all I want. So
think back on those days. I remember the feeling, the newness, the unveiling of there's this whole other world out there, and it's fun.
Yeah, all these colors, and kids and friends, and you learn so much. Everything's new, and those kids are just like sponges too, just absorbing everything that's around them. And so it's exciting. It's back to school for many, and I hope all of you out there listening had a great back to school moment here as we get the kids back. And the other part of the family that we always talk about are the pets. And so we want to remind everybody we're talking pets this hour. So if you have a pet question, 319-354-0800, 319-354-0800. Should we do the amazing pet story? And then we'll take a break and then be back and talk about Basset Hounds. Sound good? All right, big voice guy. What's he wearing today?
What's the...
He hasn't made his way into the studio yet. Come on, it's time to go. Hurry up! Come on, man.
He's
We
dragging.
don't have all day. What are
What
you?
the heck is that?
What were you doing last
Hands
night?
are going along the floor. He's just,
Oh boy, he's not wearing a shirt today. He
what is
should
he
definitely be
doing?
wearing a shirt.
Oh, jeez, he needs
Put
to
some.
take a shower. Oh,
Yes. Get out of here, man. All right, big voice guy. The amazing pet story of the week. This is a bomb sniffing dog named Vito. I saw this in a local paper, and I thought that I would share it here. I'll give KWWL, actually not paper, a news station, TV station, but they had the report online on their website. And I always like to pull the local ones. I know we had one from Ely recently.
I like these. Yeah,
Whenever we can make it local, that's what I want to do. And there isn't necessarily a story, like an amazing thing that happened, but I find these dogs amazing because they're just, to me, what they can do is absolutely amazing to me. And so let's tell you the story about Taylor Cross. Taylor Cross is 21 years old. Thank you, Taylor, for your service. First of all, he's a Marine corporal and graduated from Cedar Falls High School, and he has a dog. He's the caretaker and trainer for Vito. Vito is an explosive detector dog. They're both currently serving in the 1st Battalion, 7th Marines in Afghanistan. Vito is trained to sniff out improvised explosive devices, or IEDs as they're known, ahead of troops for removal and defusing by the technicians who get in there and are able to defuse these bombs. Taylor wrote on Facebook and was talking about Vito and telling everybody that he says that they were deployed to Afghanistan. He said that Vito and other dogs are a great tool in their arsenal to combat the overwhelming IED threat. He said it allows them to push the dog out much further than any of their other tools. They search for and locate those explosives, and the fact that they can even do this is just amazing. I mean, I don't know if the bombs, the IEDs, I mean, I guess we'd have to ask an expert if they have a certain scent to them, or if they can maybe tell that the ground's been disrupted, or it's hard to figure out how they can do it. But we've talked about the dogs, the canine unit here, Racker and Officer Falcon here locally in Iowa City, and how amazing it is that they can sniff out drugs. And you can put the drugs. I think you said you walked through a pet store and they did this a little while back. And with all this, imagine all the smells in the pet store for a dog. I mean, there's food, there's all this stuff, and he just went right to it.
Yeah, and even like I said, oh yeah, it's just going off of the scent, the trail, and he walked around and did crisscrosses and all that kind of stuff because I just want to show you that it goes way beyond tracking the scent. And so he went all over the place in the store and then randomly walks over and he puts it up high and behind, so much taller than the dog. And then he put it like 3 feet behind. It was behind bags of dog food, and the dog came in and went right to it. I mean, beelined it. It wasn't like any hesitation. It just walked through the store, walked over there, and then got up on its hind legs and said, "Here it is."
Is that not? I mean, that to me, there's just something so incredibly amazing about that.
Yeah.
And it's their senses. They just have that.
And we talk about this stuff, and it is so amazing how these dogs help us not only in the military but in the police department. When I talk with the police department and the canine handlers, you know what their biggest worry is? Public perception. That's their biggest, largest concern. She goes, everybody's afraid of our dog and of us, and they actually don't think that it's that great of a deal. And I'm like, whoa, I had no idea, because I'm so in touch with it, and I see all what they have, and we do, and we donate all the food to them and all that kind of stuff. And so a huge word out to all the canine units and everything. We should be supporting them. Both, we do it through our taxes and all that kind of stuff, and donations and all that kind of a thing. But also, when you see an officer, especially an officer in general, give them huge accolades, but also the canine unit, let them know that you really, really appreciate what they do, because those officers are taking these dogs home. They treat them as their own. So they feed them, they give them the toys, they give them the exercise, they're running around in the yard. Their family is doing the same thing. So give them huge accolades for what they do, because not only is the police force so critical to our safety, and we should be appreciating that, but also this canine unit as well.
Right, absolutely, and we learned that with Officer Falcon is the large amount of training that goes into. I mean, it's not just like
training, testing. You know, here we talk about testing in students, and my Emily is, the tests are going to start up. That canine unit has to go through monthly testing. They do weekly training, and it's not a stress-free environment by any means, and I think we all can understand that. But the testing of the canine unit on top of it, they have to go through blind tests to prove that the dog is actually doing what we think it's doing, and all that. And it's very complicated in how they do things. But they do a very, very good job here in Iowa City, Coralville, and for the university.
Absolutely. So shout out to Vito, the bomb sniffing dog.
Shut up, and I'm like, what?
Shout out. Shout out.
Shout out.
Absolutely. Vito, you're the dog, man.
You're the bomb.
You're the bomb. Yeah, the bomb. There you go. He's the dog for Taylor Cross, and shout out to Taylor for serving our country too. We'll be back with more. Hey, you Basset Hound owners, we're looking for you today. Do you own a Basset Hound, or if you know of someone that has one, get ready to call us up or tell your friend to call us, and we'll set them up with a free bag of treats and a free bag of dog food, courtesy of Nutro. It's free, and it's for you if you have a Basset Hound. Call us up, 319-354-0800, 319-354-0800. We're going to learn about the Basset Hound coming up, and we're also going to learn about the topic that Ron had talked about, which is slipping my mind right now. What was the other part? Oh, grain-free. Grain-free, that's right. Grain-free food.
I also have some toys, some additional toys from the trade shows that I want to present that are very, very cool.
You brought a bin of goodies here.
And it jingles when you walk. So there's little bells and stuff going on in there. We'll talk about that.
No puppies here in studio. We'll be back with more after this on KXIC. Good morning.
AM 800 KXIC.
The bag of food or litter. Try that on your, so when you're done.
It's not the world's best.
I know. I was thinking. I listened to your commercial. I loved it. And when I picked this up, I went, wait, world's best. There's one called World's Best. I go, oh, so you just.
Do you not like that one as much as this one, the world's best one?
This one it's a totally different technology. Those all require clumping. They all are absorbents. And then they put a little bit of scent to it to mask the smells and stuff. This sucks it all in. It eliminates. Do you know that if you took humidity out of the air, the smells are a lot less?
Yeah.
So we use humidity in the air to do the sense of smell. This dehydrates the poop and it pulls in the pee type thing.
Right.
And so now it eliminates the odors by pulling it all in.
Right. How much is this bag?
In the teens, mid-teens, somewhere in there.
But it'll last?
A month, over a month. So
Really?
what you would spend on a cheap litter, that does it.
We've never really been happy with our litter either. So.
Nobody is.
Yeah.
It tracks, it smells, it's dusty, all those things.
I'll try it out.
Final day of bridge
And that looks to be enough for one
southbound
It's one cat and it lasts for like 5 weeks in our house for a 13-pound cat.
I look forward to
So
it.
yeah,
I have two.
yeah. So you might
Do you scoop? Two?
you do not scoop the urine, so that also eliminates maintenance. And then about every, in your case, maybe 3 or 4 days. And then throw that out.
See how it works. I really like that other stuff, that the enzyme stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really works well.
It took away the stains all over here. This one, it looks like we could have done it another time.
I used it at home though too, because there was
Right,
a spot
yes.
at home and it worked great.
So it's
And Devin used it for sponges.
fixing odor.
Smelly sponges, it works awesome. She's been looking for a solution for sponges, because if you leave them in the sink or if they get wet, they get that nasty smell.
So did she run through the washer or she just sprayed it
She
in?
treated them with that and then let them sit out and then did that twice, and then now they're brand new.
The collars, did I say?
Yeah.
I soak them in that. All
Good
sorts of
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
You've always raved about it, but I never tried it. It's like now that I've tried it, it's like I'd really be getting that stuff for sure.
yeah. Let's do a follow up then, a real quick follow up on that.
Yeah.
So we can
Let
run.
me make
through,
a quick list here. We'll do
we can run through the Basset fairly quick.
yeah, Basset Hound, enzyme.
40% for property tax relief, and the remaining 10% for affordable housing. Councilmember Tim Throgmorton
I'm gonna mention
sponges
too.
percentages for streets.
It's such a silly thing, but it works perfect. And then the grain free, right?
Yeah, and then I'll probably only talk about then these silent squeakers. What's this one?
Provide more benefits to working.
August 27th, President weigh in on the issue in the November 4th election.
So it's got to be that same theory that the enzyme kills whatever odor smelling is in the sponge too.
Right.
The manager also emailing staff urging them to provide no information about what happened and to blame technical difficulties. Workforce Development spokeswoman Carrie Coons confirming that 85 people received excess unemployment payments in early March. Officials issued the benefits to everyone who got them the previous week after a system malfunction meant they couldn't process updated information from recipients. Stressing though, about 30,000 people received accurate payments. And Davenport police say an Iowa mother tried to teach her 6-year-old son a safety lesson by shooting him with a BB gun. 25-year-old Courtney Kyler Lee Owens was arrested and charged with child endangerment with injury. The charge is a felony that carries a penalty of 5 years in prison. Police say Owens had just gotten a BB gun when her son kept trying to play with it. She tried to explain to the child the gun isn't a toy before purposely shooting him in the hip. Police say he suffered a red swollen welt and was treated at the scene. You can find updated news and video online 24/7 at kxic.com and on demand. I'm Andy Peterson reporting.
Foster Appliance is a proud sponsor of the Jay Capron Morning Show. They carry Whirlpool, Amana, Maytag, KitchenAid, and more. Plus, they offer dryer vent cleaning. Visit foster-appliance.com or call 338-5489.
I'm Doug Wagner with a look at your morning sports. According to HawkCentral.com, former University of Iowa basketball star Roy Marble is awaiting biopsy results.
So would you like me to change that line about the world's best?
Yeah,
I say ask for the silica power mix.
University hospitals in Iowa City and said that tumors have been found.
yeah. I actually on the way in here, I just say call it power mix.
According to the article,
Silica people will conjure up all sorts of
battle. But I'm not afraid to
perceptions.
admit I'm scared.
You just say
That
it's
he
this
doesn't know what
incredible
it is, but he's
crystal,
willing to
Just
try
add
to
a crystal,
just
just
add
add
also
called Power
to
Mix.
Brandon Cameron, who St. Patrick
like
was
cat.
diagnosed with cancer
Okay.
in the spring.
No
Latest for Major League Baseball scores last night, including Texas over
and then
Miami 5-4,
you called it a
Philadelphia
cat
Seattle
box.
4-3. Toronto
Did you
beats Milwaukee
use
9-5.
litter box?
Mets
Did
matched
you,
up with
like, did you
8-5.
intentionally say away
Colorado
from litter box?
No, I'll call it that. I think that's what we call it, the house.
Baseball
Cat's box.
5-2.
I'll change it to
Detroit
litter
passed
box.
Tampa Bay 6-0. Minnesota also shut out by Cleveland 5-0. The Angels over Boston 8-3.
So I'll change that litter box and power mix. Do you think you'll be able to put a display up too, or is that not possible?
3-2. Pittsburgh comes back late to
It's
beat
kind of a
Atlanta
big
by
thing
a
to put a
score
display up, I
3-2, with
guess,
St.
right?
Louis over Cincinnati 7-3. The
I had
Cubs
asked in
over
the email for a way to make them more visible so people can see
We
that.
can easily do a stack out.
Midwest League,
type
Cedar
thing.
Rapids
So I'm just trying to
lost to the Quad
think
Cities
how-
5-2
I'd
last
almost,
night.
it'd be fun to
To
say,
end their streak, they get to pick up the bats again tonight.
play
in
up
Arlington at
the
7:30
endorsement
for his
aspect.
first pitch. I'm Doug Wagner with your sports.
Have a picture of you.
That'd be funny. And my cat.
I should just go to the, I can get those things made. I just don't ever.
Can you do a cardboard cutout or something like that?
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. Like pointing at it, and I could have my cat too or something.
Yeah.
And hold my cat.
We got to do that. So I gotta figure that out.
I can get a photo of me holding my cat and send it to you, and then you can probably.
Yeah,
That would be seriously funny stuff.
it'd have to be high definition or whatever.
Okay, we'll work on that. That'd be hilarious.
A high megapixel count.
Welcome back. It's the Positively Petland Show on AM 800 KXIC. We're talking pets, and we're talking Basset Hounds today. That is the breed of the week. Do you have a Basset Hound? We want to hear from you. 319-354-0800, 319-354-0800. And if you have one, you get a free bag of treats for that Basset Hound. You know your Basset Hound wants some treats. And a free bag of dog food. It's super simple. Don't be nervous. Just call us, tell us the name of your dog, a little bit about your dog, and then you get that free bag of treats and free bag of dog food, courtesy of Neutral. We learned in the first segment about a bomb-sniffing dog named Vito, and we're talking pets here this hour, as we always do on Thursdays in the 8 o'clock hour. Ron Salzer's here from Petland of Iowa City, and we want to do a bit of a follow-up here on the enzyme here as well. So there's a special odor remover that we talked about last week, and I want to do a follow-up. But let's get the Basset Hound out of the way. Let's talk a little bit about it, if you could, the breed, and then we'll talk about some of these other topics.
You're just so dismissive of the Basset. Let's get it out of the way.
Well,
Here, I thought it was your favorite breed ever.
it is my favorite breed, but we'll shorten it because we got lots to talk about.
Oh, and now you're making puns about the Basset Hound.
Could be
Shorten the Basset Hound. What is this?
Short, stumpy legs, big, long ears, but so cute. So cute.
So he did a very good job of describing the Basset Hound. You could also go to, I think you're going to be posting a Facebook page.
Do you have
Facebook.
a Basset Hound puppy? Right?
Yep, you can go to our website, PetlandIowaCity.com, available pets, and just scroll through and you'll see the Basset Hound that we have in the store. I was holding the Basset at length yesterday, just having fun with customers. Talk about, you talk about alpha type dogs and stuff like that. We hold our puppies with their belly up, and it's just to get them used to that we're in charge and they're not in charge. The Basset, when you cradle the Basset, so belly up and cradle it like a baby, it just sinks right into your arms. It is. I'm like, are you kidding me, Basset? You are so funny. And that's somewhat unusual for a hound breed. My own dog doesn't even do that. My little Dachshund, which is also a hound, won't even do that. She'll get a stiff neck every time I do it, and I go, Callie, you trust me. Just settle down. So the Basset Hound, yes, is a short but long and stocky dog with very long ears. We'll talk about all of this. That structure of a dog it does go back again to hunting, like most every dog that we have out there. And what was unique about the Basset is they didn't have to carry it. The hunters, on their horses, but way back when and still today, had to carry most of the hunting dogs to the area that they were hunting, and they had little bags and things like that on the horse as well as them carrying the dogs. The Basset was capable of staying up with them and running with them. So it's here. I know Bassets as kind of being a lazy dog, but if you keep them fit and keep them active, they're actually quite. Agility is part of their game type thing. So that was one of the unique aspects. Now their scent and their sense of smell and their just attraction to scents is what the hunters loved about them. Above average here, and so even when we go for walks. With a Basset Hound or any hound, but the Basset especially, it is just smelling everything. So everything that we can see around us, think of that in a smell form, and they are just like going, there's just this picture that's being painted for them as they're breathing and smelling and all that kind of stuff. And so they just love that aspect of it. So again, another reason why hunting was such a integral part of why we loved them. The Emperor Napoleon was the one that brought initially the Basset up as far as popularity, and then in the 1880s, Queen Alexandria kept the Basset Hound in her royal kennels. I think I did an okay accent on that one. I normally really go off on a tangent.
I liked it. It was good. It was fun.
So Queen Alexandria made them very popular way back in the 1800s, which is not all that long ago. I'm just kind of amazed on how recent that is. And then Marquis de Lafayette is who brought them over to America and then got them going throughout, and that's why we love them today because of that gentleman.
I have a first here on KXIC. I have a listener who sent me a picture of the dog that you have at Petland of Iowa City.
I love it.
Seth, a loyal listener here, was with Katie, his new wife, and they played with this Basset Hound, and he just sent me a picture of them playing with them in your kennel or in your little play area.
Yeah.
And so the dog was sent to me, and I just posted it. I know I say this a lot that oh, it's the cutest one ever, but this one is in the top 5 of all the dogs we've ever had here in like 3. We've been in the show like 3 years or so, and I'm serious. Like if you look at this dog, it's got, especially in the picture that we have posted, he's got those puppy eyes looking at you with those big long ears. It is adorable dog. It's not going to last long there. It's a boy, and it's at Petland of Iowa City. Is it still there today?
Oh yeah,
it won't be for long with those puppy eyes. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Petland of Iowa City, located right off Lower Muscatine in Iowa City.
So in maintenance on a Basset Hound is fairly minimal. No grooming here as far as cutting and all that, the hair. It is a shedding dog. It is a medium-sized dog, so you will see some of that shed around the house. Like we've said almost every show, you can use the Furminator to de-shed the dog. If you don't know what that is, come on in and we'll talk with you about what the Furminator does. And it's just a very specialized comb that removes the shed from your dog so that it's not all over your house. And then somewhat frequent bathing is desired by the Basset Hound. Maybe it's desired by us because it's a hound, and I have the hound at home. The odors can elevate. Within a week, we're washing our own hound. The Basset would be in that same boat. Again, that's something that if you have concerns about your dog in general, about smells and stuff, please talk with me. I try to get all the information out to our counselors and everything, but that is something that's passionate about myself, is that I do like a clean smelling dog, and there are shampoos that are clearly better than others out there. And I can show you my favorites on our shelf.
And you actually have like some cologne, right?
Yeah, right. I'm sensitive to dog smells. I didn't hear. A little known fact, I did not grow up with dogs, and I always joke that I'm catching up for those times.
Sure.
I grew up in a family of 5, and my parents, I brought a puppy beagle home. And when I greeted my mom with I go, look what I got, Mom. And she said, take it back. We were a handful of 5 kids, and so she said, I have my hands way, way too full already. We can't have a dog in here.
Yeah.
Bring it out before your dad gets home.
So you do have, that's good to know, because I don't think we've talked about that in a while, and I remember I was pretty amazed that there's this whole line of colognes and perfumes or whatever, and they don't smell like over the top, like it's just like subtle, but it makes your dog smell nice.
Yeah. We do smell trials for you right there and say, hey, this is what it smells like. You got to love the smell in order to want it. So.
And it's real human, the types we use, some of the brands too. So it's like, it's kind of funny that they're using dogs.
Yeah, they made a dog version, Arfman, and that kind of thing.
Jeez, yeah. 319-354-0800, 319-354-0800. That's the Basset Hound. You just learned a little bit about it. We'd love to hear from Basset Hound owner out there. So if you know of one, call us up. If you have one, call us up. And if you know of someone that has one, text them or call them and say, hey, they're giving away free bags of food and free bags of dog treats on the radio. 319-354-0800. And all you have to do is tell us the name of your dog. And I know last time we did Basset Hound, we had some calls, so those people aren't going to be calling back, I'm sure. But I know Becky, she has one with Ollie, a great Basset Hound here locally. Becky Reedus with the Johnson County Crisis Center. Shout out to her and her beautiful Basset Hound, Ollie. 319-354-0800, 319-354-0800. If you own a Basset Hound, we want to hear from you today. Just tell us the name of your dog, a little bit about your dog, and we'll set you up. Free bag of treats, free bag of dog food. It's that easy. Just call us up at 319-354-0800. So we've learned about the Basset Hound. I do want to follow up on last week's conversation. We had the enzyme. It's a odor remover with an enzyme, and it's the Petland brand. We took it home, we used it, and there was a spot we wanted to use it on. It worked great. But the other aspect that I wanted to bring to the show, and I thought was very interesting, is that my wife she has this almost abnormal hate for smelly sponges. Like, it just drives her insane. And if I'm a typical guy, sometimes when I'm cleaning something off or whatever, I'll leave it in the sink or, whatever, it gets wet. And then it has that nasty sponge smell. And it can happen to a brand new sponge, which is unfortunate because you just have to use a new one or try to figure out a way. And I've heard about microwaving it, so we tried that, and we did microwave it.
That one.
Yeah, it kind of worked, but you could still smell the hint of it, and it was like, it just got that nasty smell from mildew or mold or whatever. And so we got this enzyme, and Devin said, she's like, I wonder if this stuff works so well on smells. I wonder if it works on sponges. And she treated, we had 2 sponges, just the regular yellow and green kind or whatever in the kitchen. She treated them, and then she did it again. She did it twice, and the smell is completely gone.
Yeah, it's an
honest
amazing
opinion.
product.
This isn't like just trying to sell the product. I'm telling you, it worked. It actually got rid of the smell. So there's another use for it besides the pet smells.
And it's one of those things. Nobody, the manufacturers, never said, "Oh yeah, it works great on all these different things." We were just at our house and we said, "Ooh, this smells." And I said, "Well, use that stain and odor remover stuff that we have in the store." And so we did it, and we're like, "Wow, that thing knocked it out."
Anything that smells.
Kids' clothing gets stinky from the athletic type aspects.
Yeah, you brought that
I've
up.
soaked shoes in it because Andrew got a pair of basketball shoes. They were known, just the materials that they used it just took on this unbelievable smell. This goes beyond foot odor, way beyond that. And I soaked them in the stain and odor remover, and it eliminated the odor. I had to retreat that one. It was so intense. But when we'd go to basketball games, all the other families would say, "Yeah, what is up with that shoe? It was a specific kind. It's not even available anymore." I think because it was such a stinky shoe. But we were treating ours with that, and it would take away the smell.
Wow. So anything that's stinky around your house, you can use this stuff. You mentioned the collars. You soak the dog
We soak the
collars.
dog collars. So when you give your dog a bath, do all that kind of stuff. And we talked about, hey, if you need some ideas on shampoos, talk with me, and I'll show you my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But the collar, I always take the collar off, and then I put that in a little bowl, and I put some of the stain and odor remover in there, dilute it with some warm water, and I just let it soak for a couple hours. I rinse, and then I let them dry and put them back on. That, I believe, for us was a big source of smell. We'd wash the dog, and you put the neck back up to your nose, and I'd always go, "Oh my goodness, it still smells." Oh, it's that collar I was smelling at that point. So it was a good job of taking those odors out of that collar.
So get that stain and odor remover with an enzyme. It's from Petland of Iowa City. Ask any of the counselors there; they'll be able to point you in the right direction, and try it out and tell us what you think of it. We'd love to hear from you if you try it out on something that works. 319-354-0800. 319-354-0800. If you own a Basset Hound, the call is out to you. We're looking for Basset Hound owners this morning, and if you own one, we'll get you a free bag of treats, a free bag of dog food, just for calling the show. We just need your name and a little bit about your dog, and then we'll set you up with that free bag of food. We haven't had a winner in a while, so it would be great to hear from somebody this morning that has a Basset Hound. 319-354-0800 is that phone number. And we have a couple other topics to touch on here today during the Positively Petland show. I'm Jay Capron. We have Ron Solsrud here, owner of Petland of Iowa City, and you want to talk a little bit about grain-free foods.
Yeah, grain-free foods. A long time ago, about a year ago, we have grain-free, a lot of grain-free. The public demands grain-free dog food and cat food, and so in our store we've made it a little easier because we were walking. We have many different varieties of food in our store, and we found that we were having to walk back and forth all over the store to show all the different grain-free products. And so we've now, about a year ago, bunched them all together, and we have a grain-free section for dog food. So you can now just peruse all the different manufacturers out there, whether it's Blue Buffalo, Taste of the Wild, Science Diet, Natural Choice, all these different types of dog foods that are all in the grain-free. I was standing there in the aisle with one of the dog food reps that had a representation on the shelf of grain-free themselves, and she looked at me and she goes, "Did you know there's no scientific study that grain-free dog foods are beneficial to any dog?" And I went, "What?" I go, "You guys make this stuff." And she goes, "Yeah, because the public demands it. This is a very large manufacturer, does the science aspect of things on a lot of different things, but," she goes, "there is no scientific, peer-reviewed, all that kind of stuff on it." And I went and did my own research. After she said that, I went, "No way, there's got to be something." There is none. That if you search that out on the web, that's actually the story behind the story. There's this ongoing discussion saying, why hasn't anybody done it? I'm sure it's in the process now. It just hasn't been published about what is the benefit of grain-free and all that kind of stuff. But there is no studies. And so when you read about all these benefits, realize they're just anecdotal evidence. There's no scientific peer-reviewed studies on grain-free being good.
I have a theory, and tell me if you think this is correct, is that when the dog, not studies, maybe studies, but when the perception got out there that all these food manufacturers are filling their dog foods up with filler, with corn, like there was this big, I remember there was a big push, and everyone saying, you know, all these cheap dog foods are just using all the husks and the nasty part of corn, and they're filling up their food just as filler, making it as cheap as possible, and the food's no good. And so the theory was that, you know, they're using this corn and they're using the bad parts, and it's all this filler, and it's not good for your dog. That all got out there so much that people started associating corn with being bad, right? And grains being, it's not necessarily, that's not necessarily the truth though, right? I mean, it's the fact that dogs, when they're in the wild, they did eat some things that you know, mostly meat eaters, but you know, I don't think it's a bad thing for dogs.
No, yeah, and there are the studies that say that advocate grain-free, the good, and these are non-scientific. I find that they actually get back and say, well, actually, grains are good for dogs, and then they start going into that discussion. Excuse me, within reason.
You got to have meat, you know.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
okay, so here I'm going to say, I'm going to go in an opposite direction now. So when I look at these stuff, and I guess it's my engineering mind just analyzing things back and forth, how much carbohydrate, how many carbohydrates does a dog need? 0. So I just went in the opposite direction on you.
Okay.
And so it's going in both directions. However, there are studies, a lot of, and these are older studies back in the I'm like kind of going through 80s, 1980s, that studied can a dog digest a carbohydrate and use it and convert it into energy? And the answer is overwhelmingly yes. So you can go in different directions. Now, stand back from what I just said, because I went in 2 different directions. I said grain-free, there's no basis for them, there's no scientific evidence on it. But then I went in the other direction. I said those are carbohydrates, the grains are. The other direction says how much carbohydrate does your dog need? 0. So I'm going polar opposites. Now, look at our own human food pyramid. How much has it changed since 1980?
Absolutely.
So
right.
Everything is changing, and so a lot of the studies that are out there are based all on old data, old knowledge, old testing techniques as far as what we had the ability to do the test and all that. So that's what's probably going to revolutionize us here in the next 5 to 10 years on dog food as well as cat food, on current testing and what's good, what's bad. But let's not look at our own preconceived notions. Like, and that's what we're doing right now, because there's no real studies out there. Let's base it on scientific fact. Can the dog metabolize a carbohydrate? The answer is yes.
Yes, they can.
And you can use them, and they will use them. I don't know it scientifically, but my understanding is dogs are living longer today than they were even 30 years ago. Okay, something's going right here. So we're all like scratching our heads. I just wanted to point that out.
It's interesting though, because it's interesting, especially that the rep for the grain-free food was the one saying that there's no scientific.
We did it because everybody's demanding.
And you, as a business owner, you realize that people are demanding grain-free, so you're providing it for them. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just there's no proof that it's actually that much more beneficial.
And full disclosure here, I feed a grain-free product to one of our dogs.
Do you?
We were feeding one of the products to her. She was living fine, doing fine. We just noticed that in the morning, right before we fed, she would throw up a little bile. A little bit, not a big amount or anything. And I was like, and I knew another customer that said exactly the same thing. And this is why we get onto these, different kicks. She said, hey, I fed this formula, and it was a grain-free formula. And she goes, and my dog stopped throwing up right in the morning.
Interesting.
And so We did it with Susie, the trouble child. Of course, she was the one that was doing it.
Right.
And lo and behold, the next morning is the last time she started throwing up the bile. So there was something in the nutritional aspect. Was it the grain-free aspect? Was it the single source protein? Did we change the protein? You know, what were the other factors in there? We don't know. It was just that's what I switched to.
Yeah.
You know, was it because it was grain-free? Could have been, but probably some other things combined with it.
Interesting. So a little discussion on grain-free. The last thing we're going to talk about today is silent squeakers. And we'll put a last call out there, 319-354-0800 for any Basset Hound owners that want to claim a free bag of treats and a free bag of dog food. All you have to do is call us up and just give us the name of your Basset Hound and tell us a little bit about him, and we'll set you up. Free bag of treats, free bag of dog food for the next couple of minutes. But we just have one last topic to talk about. And Ron, you just were squeaking the squeaker, but there's no squeak to the squeaker.
Right. And so Wendy and I and our family go out to these trade shows. We go to about 5 of them every year. We got back, about a month ago from one of the world's largest in the world. It's called Super Zoo. It's in Las Vegas. That was our first trip to Las Vegas, and we found that a family can have fun there. And one of the things that we brought back were silent squeakers or ultrasonic squeakers, and we've had those in our store in the past, and we found that whole industry is now really exploding. They're going beyond just a ultrasonic squeaker. The one that I'm holding in my hand here, I'll squeak it for you. I'm doing it right now. This is what it sounds like, and I'm pushing it hard so that there's no doubt. You can't hear. I can hear a little breath.
If there was a little dog in here, they'd be
like,
what was that?
Oh, yeah, and sometimes if you can't hear it, can't smell it, or whatever, you're like, nah, it's not really doing anything. We go in our kennel and we started squeaking these, and we just walked right along all the kennels with the dogs in them. And as soon as we started squeaking this thing, they went, what was that? And then we're all about it and wanting it. Our counselors brought them to their houses for their dogs. I said, hey, I want to hear some feedback of what it's like. They were all going, holy cow. My dog likes this ultrasonic more than the actual squeaker that can irritate people.
Yeah, and that's the idea behind this, is that some people get annoyed when the dog's sitting there just squeak and squeaks. You're trying to watch TV or trying to eat dinner or whatever, and it's annoying you. So this is a solution there.
Yeah, and then this one, and you know how the squeakers are usually that thin plastic kind of, I don't even know, a little ball type thing, pretty weak. This one here, you squeak it, that whole disc. It's a big disc.
Yeah, it's like a miniature
about
disc,
a 3.5, 4-inch diameter disc, and you can tell that it's a tougher plastic, so that they're going to have a harder time puncturing it. So this thing's a durable toy on top of it.
Little squirrel that we're squeaking right here, and you can't hear it at all. Interesting. All right, well, we're out of time here, Ron. We've really had to wrap up the show. It's been we touched on a lot of different topics today. Is there anything else you want to squeeze in as we wrap up?
Squeeze in on the non-squeaking aspect of things. Always just remind everybody, we do $5 nail trims in the store. We take care of your dog very well, and your cat and all your little furry animals on that. There's no appointments necessary, and so just come on in. We'll get that done for you. Most of our dog food is on a buy 10 get one free. We track that for you, so you're not having to clip those UPCs or anything, and then we hand that free bag of dog food to you after. That's all supported by the manufacturer, so don't even feel guilty when you're doing it. We love to do that. That's what we love to have you in our store. And also just come in and play. We have pets in our store, everything from ferrets to hamsters to guinea pigs, rabbits. We just got in 10 rabbits into the store, so if you're looking for a rabbit, this seems to be the rabbit season. Hey, check us out, because we've got a lot of beautiful bunnies in the store, as well as all of the fish and reptiles and birds and all the other things that we have in there. It's a crazy fun place.
It is. Petland of Iowa City, Lower Muscatine. Go check them out and play. Come out and play. Ron Salzard, for Ron Salzard, I'm Jay Capron. This has been the Positively Petland Show. Eric Hansen with ICAD coming up, and a community calendar, too.
Programming this hour on KXIC, presented by Petland of Iowa City, next to Sycamore Mall.
Here, I got it. You treated last time. Well, it's a good deal for me when
All right.
every time I use my Health Bank debit card.
Good show.
Excellent. Covered a lot.
Really? Yep. Well,
Might start getting more phone calls again.
Yeah, I dropped off. I don't know why.
Joe and I always use that.
Put a push on.